What up, what up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Modai J and we are locked in. Raising Kanan season 4 is back and we just got episode 1. This is the recap. Now, this whole episode was a throwback. So it took place 3 months prior to what actually went on in the finale of season 3. So we get to see how Unique crawled his way back up to the top. So when you think about this episode here, you're looking between episodes 8 and 10 of season 3. Now, all of this is necessary because this is going to line up the whole season for us so we can start knocking those pins down moving forward. Now, before we jump into this and break down episode 1, if you like power content, breakdowns, theories, and predictions, live after show discussions, then you at the right channel. I'm Modai J. I built my channel off of power and I'm glad that Raising Kanan is back. So if you could do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Make sure you hit that like button, and I'm on that road to 75,000 subscribers. But let's go ahead and jump into it. This is episode 1, the recap. The flashback is to the last scene of the finale, where everybody was in the warehouse. We seen Ronnie in there, we seen Howard get popped, we seen Ronnie get popped, and we seen Marvin, Rock, and Kanan all come together as one family. They looked around at each other, no one said much, and they got up out of there. But there was a lot of bodies dropped in season 3, and this is where we pick up. But then we got to go 3 months into the past to see what happened in between episode 8 and 10 and before this shooting took place. 3 months earlier, we see when Unique crawls up out of that junkyard where Ronnie left him to rot. He makes it out, he makes it to a phone booth, and who does he call? Early Tyler. Now, we never seen Early Tyler on the screen until now, but if you remember back in season 3, there was a moment where Ronnie first got out and he needed to go get a car, so we're assuming that he went and got it from Early Tyler. Now, Unique is in the phone booth and he makes this phone call. Early Tyler puts him in the car and he's like, damn, man, what happened to you? I got to get you to a doctor. Now, of course, Unique doesn't want to go to a doctor. He just wants to be able to go home and get ready to do whatever Unique does. But he doesn't know how bad he's messed up. He just knows he's suffering the pain. Lulu is really going in on this open mic. Now, he's over at the bar. He has an open mic going. We got Famous on the ones and twos, talk about the streets need a body. We got everyone here. Jukebox, Aisha, Keisha, Kanan, Lou, Marvin. It's a full house. Well, Rock isn't there. But then we see Lulu and Jukebox. They get to talking to each other. Now, their relationship hasn't been that close ever since the music stopped. But that's because we know that Lulu has been getting drunk. But he basically apologizes, saying he couldn't make it to her audition or to any of her shows. Now, he was supposed to be making beats and songs for her, but obviously that went over to Ziza, RIP to her. But these two, they rekindled their relationship and they kind of squash it. Kanan and Aisha, they get to having a conversation. Now, remember, Aisha, she's part of Butter, her, Crystal, and Jukebox. Now, Kanan messes with Crystal, Jukebox messes with Aisha, but Aisha wants to know a little bit about Juke and what's really going on. Has Kanan ever met the old girlfriend, Nikki, RIP? She hit that rock, and that was the end of that. Now, Kanan was like, she's cool. He doesn't mention that she was a white girl or anything, but he was like, she's cool, and pretty much just making sure that Aisha's good. You know, you never want to block on your cousin, but you always want to make sure that their date is feeling comfortable. So that's all Kanan is really doing here. But Aisha, she's digging because she wants to get closer and closer to Juke because she's really into her. Rock couldn't show up to the open mic because remember, she was at the police precinct. They're asking all kinds of questions. Now her lawyer comes out and he's like, look, we are good to go. They don't have anything on you. We don't have to worry about that anymore. Now, obviously, Malcolm is still alive at this point. So we see Rock look over and she sees Malcolm still in there in his office, but she's like, I'm a little bit hungry. And she tells the lawyer to go ahead and leave. Now she is looking at Howard. We see her go to the vending machine and bend over and look in there, and Howard looks back. But remember, Howard told her we need to turn in Marvin, and that just didn't sit right for Rock. Back at the veterinary clinic, we see Unique. He laid out. He got to recover. Now, this is just a veterinarian doctor. He can prescribe very, very minimum doses of pain medicine, but he's pretty much just giving Unique some BS. But he's saying, man, this guy, he got CTE. He got concussion. Anyone like this, he might need brain surgery. Now, Early Tyler, he's obviously got to pay out of pocket for this because Unique, look at him. He's on the bed. We can't do anything about it. But he's saying, listen, what's going to happen here? And the vet tells him something that we need to pay close attention to this season. Someone with brain trauma like this, you never know who you're going to get. Maybe some anxiety, maybe some anger. You don't know who Unique is going to be. One minute he's calm, and the next he could be flipping out. As Rock is leaving the precinct, her and the lawyer get to talking. Now remember, he said that they don't have anything that's going to stick, but he also gives her a little more information that, hey, look, there's no investigation on you, Marvin, Lulu, or your son Kanan. But what I advise you all to do is lay low. Now remember, he's been a part of this family for a while because he's the lawyer and he's been looking out for Marvin. He knows what they get into. Now you got that client lawyer, privilege. You don't tell nothing. But he told Rock, y'all need to lay low. There's no investigation. But that's not to say that there won't be one in the future if things keep going the way they're going in these streets. All eyes are on Rock. Early Tyler gets Unique home from the vet, puts him in the bed. Now he's going through it, got some pain meds, and he's experiencing excruciating pain. I had head trauma, and let me tell you, it's no joke. But when they put him in the bed, we hear him say, all of those blocks are mine. Tell Rock to fall back and tell her I love her. So Unique, he's kind of aware of what's going on. He knows that he needs those blocks back. And he still has some love for Rock, even though she backdoored him multiple times. Speaking of backdooring, we see Rock the next morning and she isn't feeling good. It looks like Rock is up under the weather, so we're thinking maybe she got a cold or something. But she ends up throwing up. And then we didn't catch the hint in the very beginning when she like, oh, I got hungry out of nowhere. It turns out Rock, she starts vomiting. That morning sickness, she takes a pregnancy test. Yeah, that's right. You heard it. Raquel Thomas is pregnant in season 4. Stefano had ended up calling Marvin. He's like, hey, Marvin, I need to talk to you. Come on down. Now, Marvin meets up with Stefano, and he's a little bit iffy because he's never met him in this type of scenario. And he's like, usually you meet up with my sister. But Stefano makes it clear. Listen, I know you did a good job with that postal service delivery, first class mail, wink, wink. But I separate my business from my other business. And basically what he's telling Marvin is, look, the mob, we got a code that we live by. Now, my daughter's married to a guy named Tomasio, but he's been a little bit disrespectful. I can't have him touched. But through you, I can get him touched. Can you correct that for me? And Marvin's looking at it like, business is business. And this is what Marvin does. If he's not moving weight, he's catching bodies. Kanan finds out the hard way that in order to graduate from school, you have to complete your courses. Now, he's been in and out of class because he's hustling. He's got to make a couple of dollars. He ain't trying to be at his mama house all day. We know Child Protective Services is looking for him. But in one of his classes, he hasn't written his essay. Now, he needs this essay to go on to the next grade. But the reason he said he didn't write it is because he wants to write about something else. Now, of course, this paper is about someone in your family. And who can he write about in his family? That's why he doesn't want to do it. But the counselor tells him this needs to be done or you won't pass. Kanan, with that information about having to pass, he doesn't want to talk to his mom, Rock. He doesn't want to go talk to his grandma. So where does he go? To his father, Malcolm Howard. Now, I was watching this and thinking, why is he going to the police station? Because no one needs to know that your father is police. Malcolm even says the same thing. Don't come up to my job. You don't want people to know that. But what Kanan wants to do is write a letter. Well, write the essay over his grandparents on Howard's side. But Howard's just like us. We're like, wait a minute, Kanan. You don't want anyone to know that your father's police. How can you write an essay about your grandparents on your police father's side? It just wasn't making sense. But you got to remember, Kanan is young. Kanan's mind isn't fully developed. His mind is all over the place and he really doesn't want to do this. But Malcolm tells him no, but he still wants to keep a relationship with his son. And remember, this is 3 months earlier, so Howard is still alive. Unfortunately, it doesn't end that way. Jukebox goes over to Aisha's house for dinner. Now, I'm thinking, ain't nothing like a home-cooked meal. I'm over here in Germany. My stomach get to rumbling every now and then. I don't feel like getting up and cooking. I want to go to someone's house. Jukebox goes over there. They sitting down. This is a nice meal. This isn't what you got back at your house. You know, Rock be smoking cigarettes and stuff. Marvin and Lou arguing. Now, Aisha's family, they know about Jukebox because this is the group butter. But the dad is asking, what is your next plan? because this music stuff might not work out. What college are you going to? Aisha wants to go to Spelman. Then they start asking Juke, what do your parents do? But it comes to find out that the father and the mother both knew that Juke's mom was R.I.P. Sorry, Kenya. And he's like, oh, my bad, my bad. We heard about that. So why would you ask that question? But Aisha covers for Juke and she's like, hey, stop quizzing her. This isn't an interrogation. Marvin is on his job that Stefano sent him out for. Now, remember, when the mob asks you to do something, it's in your best interest to go and do it. So he goes and finds Tomasi and he's outside watching. He's like, wait a minute. This is what Stefano meant by disrespecting? Tomasi got a whole chick with him. He done hopped up in the, I think it was a Thunderbird or it may have been a Firebird. I can't tell, but it's clean. They hop in the car and they get to it. I'm like, what the hell? They right in front of the building. He's getting slurped up. I said, oh man, this isn't appropriate at all. Kids, close your eyes. But you see Marvin eating a bag of chips. He's like, well, I'm here for the show. All I got to do is do my job. And that's just rough him up a little bit. Rock goes to the doctor's office to see about this pregnancy. Now the doctor is asking, he's like, okay, what do you want to do? She's like, well, I want to get rid of it. I'm having this baby on my own. Now this doctor is like, okay, well, we got a few questions that we want to ask. And Rock ain't here for all of that. Rock came here with one intent. What do I need to do to schedule this appointment so I can get in and out of here? But obviously, this is the early 90s, so I don't know the whole process because, hell, I was a kid. But the doctor, he wants to know a little bit more. But obviously, Rock, she's keeping everything reserved. She's not going to give up that much information that it might potentially be a dope boy. At Early's house, Unique finally wakes up. He crawls his way to the kitchen. Early, let me get one of those cars. Early's like, nah, man, you can barely stand up. You can barely walk. The doctor said you're in a danger zone. Now, Unique wants to tell Pernessa and his son that he's alive. We all don't think that that's a good idea right now. Get your rest and then show back up, especially with that scar on your face. Your son, he'll be scared to death, nightmares forever. But Unique falls on the floor. So Early Tyler's like, this dude, man, you can't even walk, but you want to drive one of the cars? So he takes him, either puts him back on the couch or back in the bed. Unique, give us some time, brother. You're not ready. Kanan goes to his grandmother's house to go ahead and start this essay. Now, he's going to write this essay on his grandfather, Elijah. Now, not much is known about Elijah, except that he was born in 1925. Also, Elijah left the family, and that's why everybody resents him so much. But from what grandmother said, he was a good guy. He did what he was supposed to do. He worked. He did whatever was necessary. He was a good, strong man. He did leave, unfortunately, but while he was here, there was some good times. And then she even says that Elijah would have loved young Kanan. She said there's a little bit of Elijah in Kanan. So for Kanan, this is good. He hasn't really had any positivity reinforcement within his family. So hearing it from his grandmother, who he didn't want to talk to, that's a good icebreaker and a good step forward. Marvin shows up to Tomasi's crib. Now he's sitting outside, and when he gets out, there's two security with him. And Marvin's like, hey, what's going on, guys? They said, you need to get out of here. He said, oh, I was just trying to get directions. He said, you're at the wrong spot. You don't need to be here. Now, they've been telling me that they're in Brooklyn. So Marvin's like, oh, my bad, my bad. I was expecting y'all to tell me the directions. But basically what Marvin is doing is following them, stalking and keeping a close eye on his whereabouts and how he moves so he can find the right time. Marvin doesn't move very sloppily. He always has a plan and he has an exit route. So this is just another move for Marvin to execute for Stefano. Now we do hear Tomasio call him a coon when he gets up out of there. After Raquel goes through with her appointment, Jukebox is the one that's driving her home. Now I was explaining this earlier that Rock doesn't really have anyone that she can talk to. There's no other women that she can talk to. Her and her mom aren't on the same page. So the relationship she has with Juke is kind of a mother-daughter, but at the same time, it's a friendship, especially with Jukebox coming of age. Now, Rock does say she's up under a little bit of pain, and she admits that it is Unique. She also tells Jukebox that she could have potentially loved Unique. It just didn't go there. But she tells Jukebox, listen, you got to take that to the grave. Don't tell nobody this was Unique's baby. So that's some wild stuff there. Unique, You need to talk to Rock. Y'all need to have that conversation. Kanan is still getting information about who his grandfather Elijah was. So next he goes to Uncle Marvin. Now, Uncle Marvin, he had to take over the family at around the age of 13, and that's before he got into dealing drugs once his father left. Now, their mother, Thomas, she was on drugs also. But what we hear from Marvin is it really hurt him when his dad left because he used to go to the boxing matches and he used to watch his dad whoop on people. So for him, he felt like his dad was his hero, only for his dad to walk out of his life. So for that, he will never forgive him. And it's understandable. But this is why Marvin is the way he is with Jukebox, because he didn't have a father, so he didn't properly know how to love Juke. So all of this information is vital for us to see how these characters' development comes about. Unique is starting to get that strength, starting to get his legs up under himself. Now he goes in here and Early Tyler shows up. Unique is watching TV. He's actually watching the show Rock, and we're talking about Rock. But Early Tyler has been gathering up information since he gets back. He's talking about even seeing Kanan and Ronnie partnered up. Now that has him wondering, is Rock playing me? Even though she's already played him. And then he goes down a list of people she played. DEFCON, she played him. She used him. High Post, she played him. She used him. He didn't mention Howard, but we know about Howard. He didn't mention Cartier, but we know about Cartier. So that's 4 people plus him is 5. So he tells Early Tyler, I need a gun. Tyler's like, what do you need a gun for? He said, I need one to hold. Unique, he went from calm to extreme. Kanan's still trying to write this paper, and he's getting different perspectives from all of his family members. He goes and talks to Uncle Lou. Now, remember, this is drunk Uncle Lou before he went off to rehab, and he starts talking about Elijah. He didn't really know him too well because he was just a baby when all of this was going on, but he knew that Elijah worked his butt off, and that's what Grandma was talking about. Kanan, even though he doesn't have a regular job, he's working, he's hustling, trying to find his way. Now, hustle can come in any way. That could be a 9 to 5, or that could be on the block. A hustle is a hustle. Lulu's doing the music hustle. But he's saying his father never worked for anybody, never was a bootlicker, never clocked in, did his own thing. And we see Lou feeling sorry about himself. He's talking about, man, that should be me. But Lou, that could be you. You just got to put that bottle down. Now, Kanan is getting some good information about his grandfather, and we are too. Marvin shows up to complete this mission. Now, remember the other night they told him, you're at the wrong spot. But Marvin shows up to the ice skating ring where they playing some ice hockey. And you know Marvin's going to crack him a joke. Who thought to play hockey? Get on a slab of ice and hit a puck. Now, Tomasio's like, who are you? What are you doing here? Marvin said, I ain't make the wrong turn this time. And what does he do? Bow! Punches him in his, knocks him to the ground, and then he picks up a skate. You know it got that blade at the bottom of it. Oh, he puts it to his throat and he says, hey, you're done. You're dead. Don't do anything else stupid. Don't be disrespectful no more. AKA, don't be stupid. Marvin was so angry he dropped his toothpick, but I guess the point got across. Later that night, Kanan starts putting pen to paper. He got to get this essay done. He got to graduate. We got to get to the next class. Now, Rock comes in and is like, hey, the school called. He's like, yeah, I'm working on that project now, mother. She like, do you want to ask me about Elijah? He said, nah, I already talked to Grandma, Marvin, and Lou, and they gave me more than enough information. He doesn't want anything to do with Rock, and rightfully so, man. She set him up. She's really been bringing Kanan down. But she's like, listen, Kanan, you don't have to love me for me to love you. That's going to always be there. You're always going to be my son, and I'm going to do whatever I can to protect you. But Kanan ain't trying to hear none of that. Kanan wants to finish this essay up and go hit the block and sell drugs. What else is there to do at a 16-year-old in 1993? Not write no essay. We were just talking about Lulu trying to stand on his own too. Well, guess who comes back? Jess. She done went off to L.A. She's talking about, oh, I heard about Crown. He's like, yeah, it is what it is. He's downplaying all of this because he's upset that she left. But she's been allegedly telling everybody that Lulu is the man in New York. We gonna all be working for Lulu. So this is a chance for Lulu to get his together and put either an artist or a group out and send it to Jess. Now, Jess is going to be back and forth to New York and to LA handling business. That famous act, it ain't going to work. We're going to need some real street hitters. Now, Lulu, he's like, yeah, whatever. He's still downplaying it, but in the back of his mind, he's thinking, this might be something I could use. Marvin shows back up to Stefano, and Stefano's like, hey man, you did a good job. Here goes a cigar. Basically like, look, what you did, he booked a trip, a cruise to the Bahamas or Jamaica or something in the Caribbean. They're going to be gone for a while. Him and my daughter, it is A-okay. He won't be acting up no more. So Marvin is laughing. And then Stefano tells him something that we need to keep in our back pocket. He tells Marvin, I owe you one. And me owing you something is a good thing. So we're going to know that Marvin needs to use this whenever we get to the height of some kind of war with the opposition. We got help from Stefano and the mob. Kanan was at the house with Crystal and he ends up getting a phone call. Now it was the hospital, and when he shows up, it's his grandmother, and he's looking around like, wait, you didn't call my mother? You didn't call Luke? You didn't call Marv? She's like, nah, Kanan, you're the only one I can really trust right now. Comes to find out, grandmother, she has kidney cancer. Now, she didn't want anyone to know except for Kanan. Now, they're getting closer and closer, and once you start getting older, you're starting to realize, I gotta have somebody because you don't want to be there alone. So just like Big Mama on Soul Food, that's kind of where Kanan is right now with his grandmother. The last thing we see in episode 1 of this flashback, we catch all the way up to where we were in the finale. Unique is sitting outside. All you hear is pop, pop. That's Marvin, Rock, and Kanan taking out Ronnie, Malcolm, and the security. Well, they end up walking outside. Unique doesn't see who pulled the trigger. He just knows 3 people walked out of that thing alive. So after they leave, he goes into the warehouse. What does he see? Howard. And he sees his brother Ronnie on the ground. He has a pistol in his hand, and his hand is shaking because he wanted to be the one to take out Ronnie. So now we got to figure out who did what. All right, there you go. Episode 1, Raising Kanan, season 4. We're back. Let me know what you think about it. Who is someone that is going to keep doing the right thing and actually make some sense this season? And who is going to be off of the rails? Because we got that flashback and we don't really know what happens in season 4 yet, because everything that we just seen was between episode 8 and episode 10. But let me know what you think moving forward. I also broke down episode 2 trailer that's on the channel. What's next? I'm ModeIJ. If you like this kind of content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm on that road to 75,000 subscribers. I appreciate all of y'all. Thanks for watching. I'm out.
Jimmy on the beat, boy.